So for module number 6, and this is going to be about the digestive system. Now remember, we could go into detail, a huge amount of detail onto all of the parts that are going to happen, but we'll do that in grade 11 biology, okay? But what I want to do is I want you to get familiar with the names of some of the structures, the function, and just the overall process, all right? So I've got the slide here that's got all our information page. There's more information in the textbook. And then what I've also posted on here is I've posted my solution sets, okay? So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to the solution set and you want to have your package ready to go. And the first thing we'll do is to go over the structure and the function, all right? So that's basically what's the part called and what does that part do. So stop the video, go ahead and fill in this page and then replay the video in a second and we'll go through the parts. Okay, so at this point you should have already filled in this page here. Don't fill in my answers, okay, just for the questions. Just fill in the structure and function and let's talk through this. Okay, overall digestive. There's mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. And mechanical digestion, it's just like if you start to eat something, right, your teeth start to physically break down your food. It's like you're tearing it apart, right? Imagine eating a hamburger or some French fries and you're going to be breaking it physically down with your teeth. Okay, your tongue actually pushes up at the top part of your mouth to break it down, and the muscles in through your digestive system also physically break down the food. The other big part of digestion is your chemical digestion, and this is where we use enzymes, which are fancy protein molecules that your cells have made. These are the enzymes that travel in your blood to particular organs in your digestive system and then chemically break it down. So they actually take a huge long molecule and chemically break it down at different parts. The whole goal is over here on the right hand side of this page. You want to be able to ingest food, digest food, absorb the nutrients, and egestion is the last part where we just get rid of the waste. All right, because remember, we can't as humans make our own food. We're not plants. So how do we get the nutrients that we need? We have a fancy digestive system, all right? Remember, that molecule of glucose that your body needs to make energy has to get to every cell in your whole body. How does it do that? Starts the process in your mouth by breaking down a huge molecule. So a starch, for example. So if you're eating a hamburger bun, your body needs to start to break down that hamburger bun so that you don't end up with a hamburger bun in your stomach. You end up with molecules of glucose, which by the time they get to your small intestine are then small enough that they can travel through the cell membrane to your bloodstream, and then those molecules of glucose travel to every single cell. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these structures. Mouth and tongue, that's easy. I've highlighted the salivary glands on here, just like I've highlighted a few others on the diagram. These are the ones that your food does not actually travel through these organs. These are called accessory organs. These are the ones that provide something to the digestive system, but the food doesn't travel through. Okay, so can you see down below here, there's a blow up of these organs over on this side, over here, your liver, your gallbladder. Oh, I didn't highlight pancreas. You can highlight your pancreas too. Food does not travel through any of these organs. They're simply called accessory organs. The organs that your food actually does travel through are called the alimentary canal, okay? So your food goes down your esophagus to your stomach and then connects down to your small intestine. All right, so you've got an epiglottis at the back of your throat. This is that organ or part of tissue that actually prevents food and water from traveling to your lungs, okay? So this is the organ that if you're swallowing, your body can tell whether it's food and water as you're eating and will cover up your trachea so that food doesn't go down your trachea to your lungs, and instead that food will go down your esophagus to your stomach, okay? So then you can see you've got your esophagus here, your stomach, and then from there your food will travel to your small intestine. Fun fact, your digestive system from the very tip of your mouth to the very bottom of your anus is 9 meters in length. Now, if we are in the classroom, sometimes I get people to take like a piece of string or a piece of ribbon and we measure out 9 meters. And do you know what the longest part is? Small intestine. Your small intestine is actually 7 meters of that 9 meters length, okay? What does that tell you? It tells you that it might be the most important organ in your digestive system. That's where the absorption of all the nutrients actually takes place. So your body starts to digest in the mouth, continues to digest in the stomach. Once it gets to the small intestine, that's where the majority of digestion will take place. Okay. Pancreas, you can see that up in there. Large intestine, large because of the diameter, not the length. All right, small intestine is small because of the diameter, but it's actually the largest part. So your food goes through your small intestine and then is connected to your large intestine right here. There's your appendix. No function to the appendix, okay? And as the food does go through your small intestine, there are 3 parts: the duodenum, then the jejunum, and then the ileum. Those are the 3 sections of your small intestine. Then the food goes up through your large intestine, also called the colon, and then out the rectum, anus, and that's where the waste is. All right, so the last part, your large intestine, really the function of that structure is to reabsorb any of the water back into your body and to produce the waste that's going to get sent out. All right. Bottom part here is really about digestion of macromolecules. It's on my note, so I've left it there. Don't worry about that too much. That's more grade 11 and grade 12. Okay? Key, increased surface area of that small intestine, and that's one of the main functions of it. So it really has to have an important feature like that. 7 meters long, and then it has these villi that increase the surface area. Okay, moving on to this sheet over here. I'm going to do a little bit on this diagram, and then I'm going to leave it for you to continue to fill in. All right, so fun fact from our digestive system, remember, it's about 9 meters long. That's huge. All right, so as the food enters into your mouth, we experience mechanical digestion by physically breaking down your food, and also chemical breakdown. Did you know there's actually enzymes in your mouth? Okay, you want to do a little experiment? Take a cracker, pop it in your mouth, and chew. Don't swallow. Chew and chew and chew and chew and chew. Chew it for about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Your salivary glands have amylase in them, which starts to break down carbohydrates, and it'll start to taste a little sweeter over time. That's because as you decrease the size of the molecules, you'll notice that those tiny little molecules that it gets broken down into, called sucrose and glucose, those are the ones that we know as sugar. They actually taste sweeter on your tongue because they're smaller. All right, so over time, that cracker tastes less like a carbohydrate, a macromolecule, and more like a monosaccharide, which is a teeny tiny little molecule. All right, so chemical breakdown as well, and that starts in the mouth. Now, fancy word. Now that the food is in your mouth, it's no longer called food anymore. Now we call it a bolus of food. So here's your little bolus of food. And then there's muscles in that tissue, right? There's smooth muscles in the tissue of your esophagus. They contract this way, horizontally, as well as vertically, because you know that if you turned upside down, if you hung upside down, you can still swallow food. How does that happen? Well, it's certainly not gravity that makes the food go from your mouth into your stomach. It's something called peristalsis, and it happens because of the muscles that are lining those organs. Okay, so there you go. Muscle contraction gets that bolus down to your stomach. Once you get to the stomach, there's a lot of acid in your stomach, isn't there? Your stomach also has these ridges on the inside. They're called rugae. Okay, what's the purpose of that? Well, it's to simply increase the surface area inside the stomach, and it helps to mechanically continue to break down that food. As it mixes with the acid, it starts to physically break it down. Okay, so there's no chemical digestion well, there is chemical digestion because your acids continues to break it down, but don't forget about the fact that there's mechanical digestion taking place there as well. Okay, now from there your food heads to your stomach, and then you can see those 3 sections of your small intestine. First is the duodenum, second is the jejunum, and third is the ileum. From there, you want to have a look at this little blow-up diagram that shows what the inside lining of that small intestine looks like. It actually has ridges, we call those villi, and then on top of the villi, there's actually microvilli. So the function of these is to increase the surface area, because we know that this is where the absorption of nutrients takes place. So if you have a greater area for that nutrient to be absorbed, you're going to have maximum absorption. All right, you've got 7 meters worth of small intestine, and that whole way is where the absorption is taking place. Where do those nutrients go when they get absorbed? Can you see right there? There's a connection between your digestive system and your circulatory system, right? So they go right to your blood. I often call the circulatory system the transport system, right? You got to transport those nutrients where? To every single cell in your body. So imagine all those little glucose molecules go through the membrane of the small intestine into your blood, so here to here, and then your bloodstream will take that nutrient, that glucose molecule, to every single cell, and then picture that glucose going across the cellular membrane, find a mitochondria, and turn that glucose into energy in a molecule called ATP that your cell can use. Okay, I know that I've got a lot of other things on this diagram that I've posted, all right? So that's back to here. Feel free to go through and add a few more things to yours. But again, I want you just to get a good sense of what that digestive system looks like, basic structure and function, and then you can answer some of the questions. Chyme, that's a word right there. I forgot to add that onto our other diagram. That's what the food's called when it reaches your stomach. No longer called food or a bolus of food. It's now called chyme. And then it doesn't have any name after that. Okay, so feel free to watch the video, answer the questions, and that's it for the digestive system. We'll see you next time for the circulatory system. I hope everybody's doing well.